Good morning and welcome to Fresh Perspectives. I was going to say something about this being a beautiful time of the year with all of the blossoms and the trees and everything, but it is raining out today and getting colder. So my guest today is Elaine Caflisch from Lakewood. Yeah. And Elaine is a porcelain artist, and she's also president of the Chautauqua County Society of Artists. And you got voted into that position, did you?
More or less. What happened was one of the girls that was the president, she passed on, and they just needed somebody right away, and I don't know how to say no, so.
So you wound up with the
I
job.
ended up with it.
Yeah. I have one of those kind of jobs too with the Vegetarian Society. Nobody else wanted the job, so a friend of mine and I are doing it. Well, anyways, one of the interesting people that I know that you have known over the years is a lady named Ruth Wilcox, who passed away last summer. And you met each other through your jobs in the medical profession, is that right?
Right. She was in the lab and I'm in X-ray, and one day they had like a little craft show type thing over in the lab, and I went over and they had a variety of things to sell and whatever, and one of the cute little ladies there was Ruth, and I bought a spoon. It's a wooden spoon. It's about that long, and she had some little pumpkins painted on it and everything, and we got to talking, and I said, oh, you know, you do such beautiful work, and it's like, why don't you learn how to do China painting? And oh, she did that when she was in Switzerland.
Which is where she was originally
she was from.
Yeah.
So we got together and we started painting, and the rest is history there, I guess.
Yeah, I knew her because I took Resource Center clients to the church that she went to, so I knew her, but then I started finding her at the craft market at Chautauqua and so forth, and I really liked the fridge magnets that she would make. I brought in to show some of the things that she made, things that I bought from her. The first thing I ever bought from her was this little box.
Yeah, she used to do Beatrix Potter all the time. Yeah. She just loved them.
And I think the thing that I really liked best about this little heart-shaped box was she had a rose painted on the inside of the box. And another thing that I really liked of hers was this fridge magnet here. It has not only a butterfly and a ladybug and red clover, but she's got the top of the bell tower from the Chautauqua Institution up here in the corner. And she has, it says Chautauqua, New York, and it says 2007. So that must be when I got it from her. And I really love pictures of pansies, and these are some pansies, ones that she painted. And this is a chicken that I thought was really cute. I like chickens. And so anyway, I got that from her one time. And then there's this one with some daisies and some smaller flowers in with it. And
she called that neon painting. It was a special painting that they used to do in Switzerland.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she was quite famous in this area for that, because she's really about the only one who knew how to do it.
Yeah. Well, I remember, do you know Gretchen Gady, who used to sell photography at the craft market?
I'm not familiar with her.
She's got a shop at the Chautauqua Institution now, so she doesn't do the craft market anymore. But I remember Gretchen one time told me that she'd heard about, I can't remember what state it was. She'd seen something advertising on the internet for an estate sale or something, and it had a list of a lot of the things that were going to be sold, and it mentioned artwork by the famous Ruth Wilcox.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was pretty neat, you know, that she was referred to as the famous Ruth Wilcox. She was a really nice lady, though, and we're going to be showing a picture of her later when we get to showing pictures.
Both of her daughters have, well, she's got more than 2 daughters, but 2 of them have gone on to do China painting too.
Yeah, and she learned it in Switzerland.
Originally, yeah.
I saw a newspaper article about her one time with some pictures in it, and she said that they wanted all of their citizens to study a fine art, regardless of what line of work they were in. They wanted them all to learn a fine art, and porcelain art was what she chose, apparently. So, so she was a pretty interesting lady.
Well, she was a sweetheart.
Yeah, she really was. Now, how did you get interested in doing porcelain art?
Well, it's kind of an odd story. I had a thimble collection, and I would go to these different places, and I would keep picking up all these thimbles, and they all seemed to have this IDA on them. And the General Hospital had a big fair one year, and they had craftspeople there, and I went up to the table and I saw this cute little thimble, and I said, to the lady behind the table, I says, I keep finding these really nice little hand-painted thimbles here, but I said, they all have IDA on them. I says, can you tell me what that means? And she says, well, it's my name, Ida. I was like, you painted these? And she says, well, yes. And I said, well, I would really love to have a thimble in my collection that I painted, and could you teach me how to do it? And so that's kind of how it started.
So she taught you how to do it?
She taught me how to paint thimbles for my collection. Mm-hmm.
And you've really expanded, haven't you?
Well, yeah, over the years. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so sometimes the detail work isn't, as fine as it was.
Okay, is there a difference between porcelain and ceramics and pottery?
There is. Porcelain is a finer clay, and the glazes are harder. I could paint my china paints onto a porcelain piece or onto pottery, but the finest is considered on your porcelain. So,
oh, it's considered finer than the pottery and the ceramics.
It's because of the clay. The clay is thicker on the other ones.
So is it less likely to break if it gets dropped?
This is real likely to break if it gets dropped.
Oh, is that right? More so then.
Way more so. In fact, the best porcelain is something like, if you held this up, if you can see through it. And you won't find that anywhere anymore, because the art has been lost, basically.
Oh, I see.
Fine porcelain, you could almost see through it.
Oh, gosh. I never would have thought of that. What kind of paints do you use?
Well, they're mineral paints. Some of them have gold in it. Some of them have iron in it. The gold colors are more like pinks and purples, those kinds of colors. Iron is more in your reds. You mix them. They come in a tube. It's about the size of my finger. It's a powder, and you use mineral oil, like that you buy at the drugstore for those kinds of problems that people tend to have. And you just use mineral oil, and you have a little, it's called a palette knife, and you take the powdered paint, you put it onto a glass, you take some mineral oil, mix it around, and it comes to about the consistency of toothpaste. And then when I demonstrate here a little bit later, I can kind of show you.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to, are there certain measurements you have to stick to, a certain amount of mineral oil to a certain amount of powder? You kind of
learn as you go along, because you're doing it with an eyedropper. It's not like big amounts.
It's almost impossible to measure then.
Yeah.
Just adding enough mineral oil to get the consistency of toothpaste.
That's right. And
Okay.
there's been people who, say if they went away on a vacation and their husbands have some motor oil or something and they forgot to bring their mineral oil, they'll substitute, or Crisco. People have been known to use all kinds of crazy oils to gun oil.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, they'll use anything they can to get that paint to spread onto their pieces.
So what kind of brushes do you use?
Well, I try to get the ones that are squirrel hair. I'm not
Squirrel
sure.
hair?
I'm not sure why, but the squirrel hair has just the right amount of give to it when you push it onto the china. I think there's some hairs that are too fine, and when you go to push it on, it just goes right down. And there's other ones that's too stiff, and they don't have the right amount of spring. So
Yeah,
use squirrel hair brushes.
I never knew that they made brushes with squirrel hairs.
They don't do it around here. You have to buy them from somewhere like in Germany or something.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's not an American-made thing then.
No.
But that's what works the best.
That's what works the best, yeah.
Okay, do you draw your pictures freehand onto the china or copy them?
You can do either way. Because I teach and because I want all of my students to be able to enter their artwork anywhere they wanted to, I try to encourage them to use photographs. So I bought a camera and I take lots and lots of pictures. I go to Wegmans when the flowers come out. I'll go to Home Depot, anywhere where there's flowers, and I start focusing in and taking pictures. And then I have my students use them to do their work from, and then that way it's not plagiarism because I'm giving it to them. I'm allowing them to do it. But you can trace them or you can freehand them. If you trace them, you use something called tracing paper. It's like a graphite. You take the image, like say we're going to take a picture of this bird, okay? You would draw this outline with your pencil or pen or whatever. Then you would transfer that image onto the china using the graphite paper. And then when you paint, the lines move. So no tracing that you ever use is going to actually look enough like the tracing
like
to be
what they traced on.
So everything is actually original by the time you get done anyways. So, but I do encourage originality.
Well, that's good. Do you have a favorite subject matter?
Well, I actually enjoy doing animal portraits the best, I think, out of the different things that I do.
More so than flowers, even?
I think so, but I do like the flowers. Doing a flower, it isn't as challenging to make a rose look like a rose as it is to make someone's dog look like their dog. There's always little variances. And in the flowers there's variances, but it's not like I'm trying to make this particular flower look like that particular flower, because they all, I don't know, it's just more of a challenge to do the portraits, I think. So.
Yeah. So, are there any famous China painters?
Oh my gosh, yes. And we could start with Ruth. In our area, there was a Carol Sandine and a Joyce Swanson that I've taken lessons from. There's a Sally Sandstrom that also gives lessons. I've traveled. I've gone to Florida and to Tybee Island, and I've studied under Sandeau, who is the one I did this one with, and Philippe Piera. And with him I learned some birds, and it was peacock feathers and stuff. It was really pretty. And you go and you take like lessons for a whole week. You stay at like motel-y type reservation places and transfer back and forth and take lessons. So
yeah,
but he's painted the portrait of the Queen. I mean, he's really well known. Yeah,
this is really very realistic looking. This is really very realistic looking. It's almost like you had a person sitting there posing for you.
Well, what I like the best about that picture, and the reason I chose that one to do, was because I like the yellow veil thing. It was just such an unusual color, and I loved the way it went from really super light to really super dark. So.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it, towards the bottom. Why don't you tell us about the other picture from the other side of the table there?
Which one?
Oh,
this one?
that one, yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you see it okay? This is my daughter. there was a girl, I think her name is Lisi, and she does a lot of greeting cards and things, and she's quite well known in the Swedish population. And she had a little girl that was, you know, playing in a puddle, and I thought it was just so cute, so I basically dressed my daughter up in her dress and kind of posed her in a similar fashion, and then I did the same thing. But it's after a Lisi photograph that she had done.
You don't do these type as often, do you? This type of picture?
No, I've tried. I mean, it's usually somebody that I know real well, and then I try to do it, and I just keep it for myself. You know, it's nothing that I've really tried to go out in the public and...
Now, we're going to talk about some gift ideas that you have. You have some items on the table that
there's
are...
all kinds of... I mean, I know china painting, most people think of cups and saucers or a plate. But there's so much more that you can do with china painting. I know Ruth did a lot of these. They're like, and they have the ones that have the little switch for going on and off. But you can do things for your house.
Yeah, those are really pretty.
This is a toothpick holder type thing. And, you know, this is a big Swedish community. We tend to do a lot of things with the Swedish boats and the Dala horses and whatever.
Are you Swedish yourself?
Oh, I'm definitely Swedish. 7/8.
7/8.
That 1/8 though, yeah. There's English, Irish, and something in there. I'm not really sure.
And then you have a multi-layered vase in front of you there.
Well, this one's really kind of unusual, but I brought it because I thought, you know, so that people could see that there's other things you can do. These are shells, but these are actually porcelain shells, and you could actually use just regular, real shells that you would get at the beach. And there's also pieces of glass and stuff, and you kind of glue them on and fire them. This part here was painted.
Okay, so the shells can actually go in the kiln to be fired then?
Not real ones. These are porcelain ones.
Oh, okay.
But you would do the same thing after you got the basics of, what would you call that stuff that comes up from the bottom of the ocean floor, like kelp or something along that line? After you get that part, yeah, seaweed. After you get that all on first, and you could fire that, then you could just glue real shells on, and it would still be a really cool kind of project for somebody.
Well, you'd have to use a special type of craft glue so that they didn't eventually come off, right?
Mm-hmm. That E6000's pretty good. I've used, what's that one that everybody uses and you end up gluing your fingers together? Super glue? I've super glued my fingers together so many times I can't even tell you. Trying to do things like that. But I keep trying to find the perfect glue that will allow me to put it on and not glue my fingers together. When I find one, I'll let you know.
Have you thought about wearing gloves? Or
no, I never did.
You know, like
those little plastic gloves?
Those little, maybe the medical gloves or something, you know?
I never did think of that, no. That's a good suggestion. I'll just glue the tips of the fingers together on those then. It would be better than gluing my own fingers.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Then you've got an egg sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Easter eggs are kind of a collectible type thing. These are wood ducks. I just really like wood ducks. I think they're a beautiful duck. They have so many colors and whatever. They could do other Eastery type things like little rabbits and
oh yeah,
this has got really like little Easter eggs on the top.
A little cart made out of
and you could put something in there like a jelly bean or whatever.
Yeah, that would make a good Easter gift idea.
And then they have like these little stands that you can
put the eggs
put them on, but this is a little Easter egg. And then they've got like the little chickens and stuff going around the side.
Now the other egg there, I've noticed the first one we looked at,
this one,
is not shiny.
This is bisque, and that's a very good observation. This is bisque and this is bisque. You use the same paints, but there's no glaze underneath it.
Oh.
These all have a glaze. When you buy them, they come with the glaze on them. if you happen to buy them without a glaze, when you paint them, wherever you put the paint on a bisque, it's going to stay there. When you have a glazed surface, when you put the brush and the paint on, if you don't like it, you can move it. Oh, gee, I made it a little too fat here. I can skinny it up. Once you put it on bisque, it's like it's porous. And
so
if you magnified it, it would be like there's thousands of little tiny holes, and all of the paint would be filling into those little tiny holes, and you can't get it back out.
So the best you could probably do would be to somehow paint over the top of it if you didn't like the way it looked.
Yes.
So you have to be really, really careful with the bisque.
You do. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's harder on your brushes, believe it or not. If you keep painting on a lot of bisque, it'll ruin your good brushes.
Oh, I see. Is it possible to use a different kind of brush? Or
I never have, but it does ruin my brushes if I do too many bisque pieces.
So you probably don't do too many then, right?
No. But I just happen to really love the ducks, and I happen to have the eggs, so it was like, well, we'll just go ahead and try.
Okay, now you have a couple of necklaces.
I thought, you know, bringing some jewelry would be a good way to show you that's another thing you can do with china that makes nice gifts, and yet you can get them from kind of a fairly simple one like this to all the way up to something more like this.
For those of you who saw the episode of this program where I interviewed Ann Jackson from the Beaded Forest, the beadwork is Ann Jackson's.
Yes.
Ann and Elaine are friends.
Ann comes riding horses with me, and we do a lot of crafts and things together. And she did that. She also did the beadwork around this. I don't know if you can see that one or not. She tries to incorporate really pretty bead colors with the porcelain that's already
with the picture on the porcelain.
And
then there's another brooch here too.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend that lives in the Carolinas, and she had started this porcelain piece, and she never finished it. So I finished it, and then I had Ann bead around it for me. Now, one of the advantages of being in the Chautauqua County Society of Artists is I have access to a lot of people
who can help you.
who have really good ideas and creative things that they can do. On this particular piece, Ann Jackson, that was Ann Jackson. This is Linda Mason, does glass beadwork, and she made glass rose beads to go with this piece.
That looks really nice.
So it's really kind of a fun thing to be associated with so many other creative people.
You wouldn't want to wear this piece if you were going to be doing something where it might get broken, right?
Well, you'd be careful.
It would just, if you were really a dressy occasion or something. Yeah.
And then I have birds, quite a few different ones. I don't know if you can see this one or not, but this is, they're called Gouldian finches. And I went to a bird show, and I wanted to have something special to wear that, you know, shows that I'm a bird person. You can get things that are just really unique, and you know, you just have an artist paint it for you. So those are my birds.
Another thing that Elaine does is she rescues birds that need to be rescued, and we're going to have her on sometime to talk about about bird rescuing. But that is another whole topic.
That's another topic. There you go.
I thought I'd mention that because that's kind of interesting, I think. You've got a heart-shaped bird there. That is supposed to be an ornament.
These are like Christmas ornaments, but you can actually hang them like from a light fixture and have it be a light pole, or you could just put it up on the wall.
Yeah.
The other birds are on the other side. These are also birds
on both sides.
Oh, we just... I just get carried away.
So anyways, yeah, is not it's not such a wintry picture that you couldn't just have it hanging up all year long.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have cats and dogs
Cats
over
and
there.
dogs. Yeah, this one, this was our cat Fluffy. I basically brought it so you could see, you know, that you can do animals and stuff. But on the other side, that's got her name, and so you can memorialize your pets. You know, if you've got a special pet that you really
And
like.
you do portraits, portrait things for other people, for their pets, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. Yeah, and like this one has little dogs on it and dog prints, and this one has little cat prints. I like
Oh,
the
that's
open work cutouts.
interesting too.
And then on the other side they have.
Oh yeah, Angel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Get that or not?
you don't actually make the things you paint on, right?
Well,
Or do you?
most of the time I buy them. I will say, do you know who Ron Naska? He has a studio in.
Oh yes,
Okay.
I've met him.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he has a studio in Fredonia. He's also a member of our Chautauqua County Society of Artists. And he has us out once a year. And he's had us, you know, the how you have that round swirly table and you build your clay and whatever. We've done that. But he had it looks like when the people that, like the Italian people, when they do their long spaghetti things and they roll it kind of like this special roller, and then they, well, he has one of those.
Oh.
And he rolls the porcelain clay,
Oh my gosh.
and he rolls it to about this thick, and then you can use a cookie cutter and make your own ornaments, which is what we did one time. And then I thought, you know, this is really cool.
Is that how you got the dog and the cat ones?
No,
No.
I don't have an example here, but I do. When you ask the question, it just, you know, charged some brain cells here.
Well, I'm glad
and I have
that
some
you
heart
did
ones.
ask that.
Yeah, I have some heart
I'm
ones.
glad I did ask that, because that's really interesting. I didn't know about that, but and then you have these.
Mm-hmm.
You said this was your first horse.
Yeah,
And he lived to be 30 years old.
he did.
That's
Yeah.
a nice one. And then you have your daughter
My daughter Katie
and your
and
son.
my son John.
So,
Well, he was real proud of his outfit, you know, for that one. And basically, his hat is my husband's hat when he was in an Eagle Scout, and he gave that to John. And then John it's like I think they call it leather tooling, and he tooled a little thing. His nickname was Chip, so he carved like a little chipmunk on
okay.
on the thing. So that's why I did that particular picture of him, was so that we could show that he had his
Yeah,
Boy
these-
Scout stuff.
Yeah, these are really nice. We're zeroing in on some close-ups of them here. So those are really, really nice. Okay. And you have other things over there on some shelves near you there then.
We do. Let's see. Gift ideas. You can have things for children. This is a baby shoe. You can personalize them on the back side and put like the baby's name and birthday and
people
you know.
can request what kind of a picture they want on it too.
This is Dr.
probably.
Seuss here. I just love Dr. Seuss. You could do a little bank.
That is cute, that piggy bank.
He looks like he's standing in a little field of flowers, but you could do all kinds of things. And you could do the same thing on the bank, as have it personalized, have the child's name and the birth date and whatever.
Yeah, that is really nice.
For men, a nice box. This is a tile. These deer were actually at my bird feeder.
Oh.
And they were touching noses. They're not quite a year old. They were just little fuzzy, you know, deer. And
Is that
so
their
I took-
mother?
No, actually, that's one of these again, but I'd seen her further down the road. She'd been hit.
Oh.
But she let me stay there and take pictures of her. So
Oh gosh, the poor thing. By a car then.
yeah.
Oh.
So we had to call the police and whatever.
Yeah, that's so sad to see.
I know.
Animals that have
I
been
just
hit.
love the animals.
Now, purple is my favorite color. You
Yeah?
know? So that to me is really, really gorgeous. You
Well,
know?
thank you.
I love the
These are called double violets.
double violets.
Double violets, yeah. And
Is there such a flower?
I believe there is.
Yeah,
I don't know that we grow them around here, but
I know the violets. There's quite a bumper crop of violets growing outside right now in the woods. They're just gorgeous this year.
and we do paint those too, but these ones are called double violets. And I don't know, you probably, if you run your fingers across, it's called enamel work, these little white things that you see here. One of the things that makes China painting different than most of the other paintings
Oh, so
are-
this is China. Okay.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that makes China painting different from other arts is you have to know where your highlight's going to be at the beginning of the painting. Most of your other arts, you add the highlight at the end. If you cheat and you don't mind having a surface that you can feel, you can always put a highlight on using what they call enamel. But I like it. This is called scroll work, and I just love scroll work with enamel on it. So it's kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah, that is very beautiful.
And I don't know, let's see. I guess this is a vase with poppies.
Oh, is that what that is?
One of the things I did different on this, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's like little marks like that. And it was really funny because the girls in my class, when it first came out, they thought it was a mistake. And they all, you could hear this collective gasp, like, oh no, what happened? And it's like, oh, I did that on purpose. I just thought it was kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Kind of give
That's
some
really
extra
pretty.
highlights. And then my husband grows daffodils. And there's all different kinds. I don't know if you've ever heard of pink daffodils. I mean, we've got pink and white, yellow and white, yellow and orange, white and orange, just all different colors. And so I get inspired. So I did his daffodils for him on a
Yeah.
picture,
Do
guess.
the other colors? I know the basic yellow ones come up.
They
by
come up actually
themselves
at the
every
beginning.
year.
They're the first ones, but they're the ones that tend to get mowed over by the snow.
Oh.
And these ones are just coming up
Oh.
about that time, so we had a bumper crop of the beautiful, they're double ones, they're just so pretty.
Oh, yeah.
So, this is another, of course, this is getting back into plates and stuff, but there's a lot of enamel work, these little dots and then
Oh, yeah.
on there. And I actually put the white enamel work right onto the flowers. I think these are called mums.
Now, you would not use this to serve cookies or anything?
Oh, sure.
Oh, would you?
Yeah, I just went and put them in the dishwasher. The dishwasher tablets and all those, the soap is really a harsh soap, and it actually can eat away at your colors.
Oh.
It's not that you can't do it, but I wouldn't. Because I would want my colors to stay as vivid and bright as they are.
That is a very beautiful picture.
Thank you, thank you.
What kind of flowers are those supposed to be?
Mums.
Mums, okay. I like the way there's little bits of blue in the background.
Yeah. I like the blue too. And these are Rose of Sharon.
Oh, that's what Rose of Sharon looks like.
And I've done these, from pictures that I've taken on my bushes. They have some that are white with this striking, is it magenta color or whatever too. But I really like the plate, and I like, all this open work stuff on it.
Yeah, that is really nice.
And let's see. Oh, it's always nice to do, like you say, things that have to do with our area. Grapes.
Grapes.
Grapes, Westfield.
Grapes, yes.
So, and grapes are kind of hard to do because you have to have them really circular. So sometimes there's tricks and sometimes there aren't.
Yeah.
But those are kind of fun to do. And then this is another one of those open work plates, but instead of being oval, it's a round one. I can't remember what the name of these flowers are.
Yeah, I was just wondering
Peonies,
about it.
maybe.
Peonies?
Peonies. We've got that. And then I guess the next thing that I really like, you know, if you were to say animals, would be birds.
Yeah.
And this was kind of a fun plate to do because where it's real dark here, you paint this all dark, and then you take a tool, it's called a wipeout tool. It's like a little rubber claw, and you just go like this and go through to get those feathers.
Oh.
So that's kind of a fun
What
thing.
kind of a bird is that then?
Egrets.
Egrets?
Yep. So, and then this is the one we almost knocked off of our.
That's why it wasn't sitting on the table all
We
this
almost
time.
knocked this one off. This is the flagship Niagara, and I like the way the waves have got this enamel work done on them, because it really makes it look like it's kind of three-dimensional then. And then this is the Perry Monument, which is down in Erie, where the flagship Niagara.
That's right out on the far end of Presque Isle, right?
Yeah, I love driving out there. And you can bicycle out there. It's so pretty. And then this is the anchor at Findlay Lake. So I try to do some regional stuff. I've done quite a few of Scary Lucy. She's quite regional these days. And then I've done a Lucille Ball Christmas tree. It probably stands, I don't know, about that tall. And you were asking about whether I made any of the ornaments. I made most of the ornaments for the Lucy tree. I did have some that were this size, and, you know, that I did a few of. But then I took the cookie cutter and I went up to Ron's, and he helped me, and we made porcelain hearts. And then I have little heart-shaped lights, little red Christmas lights.
Oh.
So it's a really cool Lucy tree.
And then you've got a tray here in front with 5
Oh, with the
different
birds.
birds on it. That's an especially cute bird right in the middle there.
The middle one?
The pinkish color.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a cardinal baby, I guess.
Oh, is it?
I think.
It really has a cute look at the expression on its face and everything.
Yeah, there's supposed to be a bluebird and what are those yellow birds? The goldfinches, and I don't know, but they're fun to do. And I can't help. I love birds.
And then she has another vase and a teapot up over there on the top shelf.
All right, let's see here. These are iris, but I really like the shape of the vase. It's just so unusual. It almost looks like a flower or something itself.
Yeah, it does. And the irises are the perfect flower, it seems like, to have painted on there.
I love irises. There's just something about them. So we did that.
Yeah. They're not extremely fragrant, but they have a fragrance that kind of smells like, it makes me think of root beer. The way that it's, the fragrance that they have. I know that probably sounds pretty strange, but that's how they always smell to me.
Okay. Well, this has got gold work on it. One of the things that a lot of China painters use to embellish their work is gold. And gold is actually a luster, and it sits on top of the china. It doesn't become a part of it. The paints that I use that are just your normal regular china paints, they actually become part of that glaze. So if you wanted to remove it, and you can, but when you tilt it in the light, you'll always be able to see it, because it ate a little bit of that that glaze. But if you wanted to take the gold off, it'll come right off and it won't show afterwards, because it's floating on top of your glaze. It never actually really becomes a part of it, even though you're putting it in the kiln and firing it.
Is it easy for a person to accidentally knock it off if they own the piece?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and you could sand it off accidentally, or if you put it in the dishwasher, because the gold, because it's only sitting on top, it'll come off a whole lot easier than some of the other things would.
Well, okay, we better get around to let's see. Oh, no. We had probably better get around to showing your pictures. They
okay.
Scan some pictures. Now what is that anyway?
That's a shed. It's at my girlfriend Judy's house.
Uh-huh.
She asked me if I wouldn't help her because she wanted it to look good from the road.
Mm-hmm.
So we went out, and that's done with acrylic paints.
Mm-hmm.
And we just started doing things like hollyhocks and daisies. And
so you can use acrylic paints outdoors?
Yes,
then?
you can.
And rain doesn't wash them away?
That's been there for probably 10 years that I'm aware of.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. And I don't put anything over them, like a sealer either.
Yeah, I like the way that looked.
And that's a garage door. My parents used to live on Lakeview Avenue, and the garage door has since been repainted over,
Mm-hmm.
but they kept it for quite a while. The funny thing about doing paintings like that is when you're up there and you're close to it and you see it as you're doing it, it looks perfect. And then you go to stand back, like you go down by the road and it's like I can't see anything. So then you have to go back up and you keep adding color.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be surprised how bright it is when you get right up there.
Mm-hmm.
In order to be able to have it be seen from whatever distance it is you're looking at. And I did that picture. It's a watercolor. The watercolor colors are really bright, and that's one of the things I like about them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the Audubon, Ruth London had mentioned one time that she really liked kingfishers. So I saw a picture in like one of those Rick Ranger magazines, and so I just painted that for her.
So you painted that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then one of the girls that I work with, these are her daughters, and she wanted them on a tile that you could hang. And
Mm-hmm.
so there's like little holes up there where you can hang it from your wall.
You've really done a good job of capturing the expressions on the faces of the girls.
Oh, thank you. It's really kind of fun to do the braiding that they had in their hair.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of fun. And then this is Ruth Wilcox.
Yeah, we were talking about her earlier. She's the one I was showing you the fridge magnets that I bought from her.
Well, I used to run an osteoporosis support group, and the women that have osteoporosis really severely have got those curved backs. And I thought, Ruth, how about posing for me? And I says, I'm going to do some pictures. So we went out in her garden, and I thought, she paints porcelain and I paint porcelain. It's like, let's have you have a little porcelain teacup in your hand while you're doing it. And then I titled it, Bones as Fragile as a China Teacup.
Oh.
So.
Oh, yeah.
So I have that hanging in my office with me. This, there was like an Indian culture days, like India the country, and they had people that came up from Philadelphia and dance. And so I had some pictures, and I used those. They paint like red spots on the palms of their hands, and they paint red lines on their feet and everything. It's just so interesting. So that's actually a vase.
Oh,
and
yeah.
There's four different dancing ladies going all the way around.
Yeah, that's a really nice picture. I love Indian things.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're so bright and colorful.
Yeah.
And then this is actually a wedding gift. It's a vase, and then on the sides that you don't see there, that's got their names and the dates and that kind of thing on it. And then it's a nice keepsake. So that's another thing people can be thinking about when they're looking for gifts. And this is actually a table.
Yeah.
They had a chair. I don't know if you remember the chair auctions that they used to do.
Chair auctions?
The chair auctions.
Oh, chair auctions.
Mm-hmm. They had those up at Bemis Point for a while, and they used to ask me if I wouldn't donate a chair. Well, sometimes I get bored with chairs, so I found this cute little table, and I painted hummingbirds on it, and we brought that up instead. It was really fun to sit behind the people that are bidding on it.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah, because it's like she's poking her husband and saying, I really want that, and the bidding keeps going up, and she's saying, but I really want that.
Oh,
and so it's kind of fun.
And sometimes the husband's wanting to stop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that was the last of the ones he had scanned or not. Do you?
It probably is.
Probably is. Well, maybe we'd better get busy. You were going to do a demonstration.
Demonstrate a little bit here for you?
We're down into the last 14 and a half minutes here.
All right, well, let's get some of this stuff over at the side. I was very fortunate that the people that I painted china with, some of them had very handy husbands, and they made this box for me. And so I can pull a tray out, and then this is, it's like a piece of glass. And I can write underneath it what the colors are if I need to. Sometimes you want to use certain colors or that are by certain artists, because some of the paints are a little bit more finely ground, which makes them a whole lot easier to work with, and they fire better. And then in here, we have all of our little...
That's your mineral oil.
This is the mineral oil. This is, I call it a gun oil mixture.
Oh.
I have probably 4 or 5 different oils that I put together to make the oil that I use. Some oils dry quicker, and if you're a good fast painter and you do it that way, it works great. But if you're teaching people and you need to help correct them, and it's a course of, like I teach painting, and the classes are about 3 hours long, and I don't want the oil to dry out before I go to help fix it, because if it's dry, when I go to put the wet on it, it just ruins it.
Oh.
So I want an oil that stays open while I'm teaching. So I actually
prefer the gun oil.
prefer that, yeah. And then these are some of the different tools. This is the palette knife I was telling you about, that if you want to mix your colors, you know, you stand there and go like that with it. This is the little rubber tip to do wipeouts with. This is a pen point. You can actually dilute this paint down with some turpentine, and I can make ink out of it.
Oh.
And do some things with it. And let's see. Oh, I need my brushes. So that's my little handy dandy painting box. I actually carried that with me when we went to Florida to do the Sando seminar.
Oh.
And because I had this little palette knife in there, they didn't want me to take the palette knife. And it's like, do you think I'm going to try to stab somebody with it? It's like, I really need this tool, you know. And they finally let me pass with it.
You
but
mean
I'll tell you
the
what.
people at the airport
Oh
that
yeah,
was giving you
they
a
were
hard
not.
time?
They were not going to let me have that. Yeah, they wanted to confiscate it. And it's like, but it's my best one. And it's like, they don't all work the same. So let's see. If I was going to paint something, maybe it would be like a little panda bear. So I'm going to work this.
What kind of pencil do you use?
This is a Stabilo pencil. It's a special one that they make for writing, you know, doing china. So if you had 2 eyes and maybe a nose, here comes his little paw. He's going to have some branches, and maybe he's going to be about this big, and he's going to have an ear over here and an ear over here. Okay, so then what we do, sorry.
Okay, you're opening 2 jars.
This is the oil, and what I do is I spread the brush out like this. Now you can see there's some green in there, but I'm not going to worry about it because it's not that much. And then I take some of the oil back out. And I'll say, well, for the background, we'll start with a dark green. So you got to find a dark green. Okay, well, here's some green. So we go in, and then we come back in here, and it's like I want some things that look kind of like fur. So I kind of bring it in this way.
Oh, and then you use some green with it for that then.
This will be the greenery behind him. Just to give you an idea. So we'll kind of smooth this out a little bit. But for his face, maybe we want it to look more like there's hair, so I can bring it in like that. The other thing you can do is bring, but see, because it's white china and it's got a glaze on it, I can just go in and take it off if I don't like it. So then we'll say, well, we need to have an eye. So we'll go back in and do the same thing over again. I get oil worked into the brush and say, well, I need black for his eyes. And he has fur that comes this way.
Black fur around the eyes.
So then I take that wipeout tool again. Pardon me. And we give him his pardon me, give him his highlight. And that's kind of how you do it. Say, well, I want him to have this cute little face. Pardon me. I knew this was going to happen.
Do you think you might be allergic to some of your stuff?
No. My throat's just bad all of a sudden. I sure hope you stopped.
I wish he'd opened it.
Thank you. Okay. So then, we basically do the same thing. We want to connect his eyes. Give him a little thing down the center of his nose. Most white things are not really white. So give it a little color. We might even want some gray. But this way you get the idea. Pardon me. Probably a nervous tick or something. Well, anyhow. Then you just go through and add more of the background.
More green, yeah.
And then what you do is you carve out, like say if you want some little leaves or something behind him.
Oh, you just take the rubber tip?
You take this little rubber tip and there's a leaf. Higher, like this. And same thing, more of his nose. And then his little paw. Not sure how much I can get accomplished in the amount of time, but you can see it's starting to take shape.
It is. It is. It's looking more and more like an actual bear. A panda bear, that is.
Okay, and then maybe because he's dark himself here, you can get the dark going. And then the other thing you can do, other than using that little wipeout tool, this is turpentine. So if you get turpentine, I can get the same kind of effect. You see how I've got like little leaves coming out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that looks nice.
So see, you're getting a little bare.
Mm-hmm.
And you can keep, I mean, you just keep playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
And adding more, you know, little fur lines or whatever you have to add.
Yeah.
And the more you add, then you can go back in and shape it up. And
Now, when you do pictures of people's pets, like some of the animals on those ornaments, do they leave a photograph of the animal with you?
definitely, I always work off of photographs. So, oops. And then this is what it looks like when it's done.
A cute little panda bear. They are
But
cute,
it really
too.
won't be this dark and this good, because on your first fires you're actually doing your lightest colors of your painting. And then you keep building the paint up.
Oh, really?
So this was probably 5 or 6 fires.
Oh, really?
None of my pieces look just like this when I start. They look more like this, and then you just keep adding to them.
I see.
So,
there's quite a bit to it then, isn't there?
and the kiln itself, they have something called a kiln sitter, and it's 2 little things that pop out here, and then another one that comes here, and they put a little cone on it, and when the cone bends at the right temperature, it shuts the kiln off. Okay?
I see.
And the temperatures are anywhere from 1,160 degrees up to, oh, I don't know, 1,500 and some. So it's
Yeah.
kind of a variation in how they get a cone to know when to bend. I have no idea. But somebody came up with the technology,
Oh, gosh.
so it was kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so we're down to about the last 2 minutes now. They just showed your phone number on the screen. They can call you to find out when you are going to be teaching classes. If
I
people
usually
would like-
teach on Wednesday afternoons. And we have probably anywhere from 2 to 6 or 7 girls at a time. So it almost is like private lessons, but not quite.
So men don't tend to sign up for the classes?
I really haven't had any men sign up, but the most famous painters that are porcelain painters are men.
Are they?
Sandeau, the guy that I did this one with, and Philippe Pierre. So,
Maybe it's just how the men think around here.
well, I suppose if they see all the flowers and the little animals and everything, it probably doesn't speak to them the way some other artwork forms do. I don't know.
Well,
And I tend to do things like I'll put flowers in. Like say I did a picture at my home and it's Canada geese. Well, if Merrill Coffin had done the geese, that's what it would have been as the geese, and there might have been a few cattails or something. Well, I've got flowers all over the place. That the you know, it's like they're swimming in a pond with flowers. So
have you thought of having a class just for men then?
I never have, but if some men wanted to learn to do it, I'm sure we could
Come up with
accommodate them.
something you could teach them?
Well, you know, even tiles like this, you can tile your bathroom with these tiles.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can tile your kitchen.
Yeah,
We did this at my mom's house. They love all the Swedish stuff, so we did all these little, and you know, you use a tile cutter and you cut them and you get them all ready, and we did little Swedish doll horses and Swedish flowers, and then my dad grouted them in. The men are actually quite helpful with, like, and you know, they tend to make the boxes that we carry around, and you know, they tend to be real creative with things. Ann Jackson's husband, he
Oh,
makes
yeah, yeah.
the little round boxes and stuff in the covers, and puts the little jewelry things in them.
Right. Well, I guess we've come to the end of another hour of Fresh Perspectives, and I want to
We
say
did it.
I want to say thank you for coming on. It's been a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of really beautiful things today. And I'll see the rest of you in a couple of weeks on the next episode of Fresh Perspectives. Now we'll still be on camera, but